Are they right?
I think it reflects American culture. I think that there is, I called my book Cult of the Amateur. You might have called it Cult of the Child. One of the most intriguing and often annoying things in America is when you have these middle-aged people who always tell you that their children know best. The idea that somehow the child, because they're innocent and pure, is a better receptacle of truth and justice and beauty. I got a child and I love my child, but I don't think my child knows more than I do. And I'm much more interested in educating my child than my child educating me. I think the nature of American society lends itself towards kids being so their innocence being so fetishized that people take that innocence as truth. It's back to Rousseau, it's back to the anti-enlightenment notion. And a lot of these Web 2.0 people have picked this up. It's peculiar about technology. Technology fits into this discourse because, of course, children can come to internet technology and they intuitively understand it, whereas grown-ups, particularly grown-ups who matured, who developed in an analog world, find the internet and find computers and technology actually quite difficult, quite counterintuitive.
I saw in your Twitter profile that you're looking for partners for something called Video from America. What is that?
Yeah, well, do you remember Alistair Cook, the great BBC journalist? He had a famous BBC show called Letter from America. Now, letters are rather old-fashioned. When was the last time you got a letter?
Well, I don't.
You don't? I never got a letter for years. So we get emails, and emails are even becoming archaic. What we're getting are videos. What I'm excited with is the new iPhone, which I just bought, which allows anyone to record video and then distribute it on YouTube and on the internet. So I thought I would start something, and it's a little bit of a joke, but jokes sometimes are the most serious things. I'm calling it Video from America, in which we can aggregate interesting videos through the iPhone, through YouTube, through the blogosphere, and then distribute those videos around the world. So it's kind of interesting, exciting, fun. I'm not sure if it's a real business, but that's what's nice about Twitter. You can throw out some crazy idea, and I get tons of replies from investors, from partners, from consumers. Some people say, you're crazy, what a stupid idea. Some people say, that's great. Some people say, sure, I'd love to invest in it. Twitter is very immediate. It's very intimate. You have an audience. I've got several thousand followers. And by the way, since we're on TV, I might as well pitch myself. I'm AJ Keen at Twitter. Yeah, I got a good Brazilian following. I don't understand Portuguese, but I love getting Portuguese tweets because I can't understand what they're saying. So even if they're rude, I won't understand it.
But who should be the curators?
Me. Because I'm smart, right? You seem pretty smart. And we're not
every blogger thinks they are smart.
Yeah, but everyone thinks they're smart. Some people are schmucks, some aren't. I mean, that's the nature of our life. It's a meritocracy. Everyone wants to go to Harvard. Everyone wants to be a doctor. Everyone wants to work for the UN. Everyone wants to run their country. Some people can, some people can't. If we fall into that childish relativism, where everyone is as credible and relevant and smart and virtuous as everyone else, then we're lost as a human race. We have to make calls. The problem with our culture is we live in a world where increasingly self-worth is determined by one's creativity, by the idea that one could write a book or make a movie or sing a song. We've lost the structure of traditional community, and we're increasingly pushed towards sort of fetishizing our own individual creativity. So when I say to you, look, George, your stuff's crap, I'm not going to publish it, you take it very personally. It's a fundamental assault on you, on your identity. That's not my fault. That's a cultural crisis. Christopher Lasch wrote about this in A Culture of Narcissism. Daniel Bell wrote about it. It's a feature of post-industrial capitalism.
Is the old media doomed?
Yeah, it's doomed big time. It's really doomed. When I wrote my book, I still had a little bit of hope. I was sort of optimistically pessimistic, if you like, but I think it's doomed now. 3 years after the book, they still don't get it. The ones that do get it are jumping into new media, but most of them don't get it. I think we have a fundamental shift from a paid copy economy to an unpaid bits economy, in which creative people increasingly give away their content on the internet and then make their money through maybe TV shows or live speeches or perhaps even product support. Musicians are beginning to understand that. I think if you want to understand what's happening in the media business, look at the music world. They are the canaries in the coal mine. They're the ones who are showing us the future. And you can't sell CDs anymore. It doesn't have any value because you can have them online. You can steal them or take them. So the only way for musicians now to make money is to sell concert tickets or to productize their brands through clothing or other promotional things.
What will be the future of journalism?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. It's a really hard question. What I do know is that it won't be the old future. I have a feeling that we're living through a time of enormous, a great cultural revolution in the way in which people perceive information and the news. I think the old industrial model of the New York Times, large organization, filtering and curating information and then distributing it to the world is clearly finished. That's ended. The question is what will replace it. I don't know. It's very hard to imagine a world without traditional newspapers, but it's even harder to imagine a world with them.
In Brazil, there's a debate going on because we had the requirement of journalism school, a diploma in journalism school to be a journalist, and that was overruled by the judiciary. What's the difference between a blogger and a real journalist?
There's no difference. The word blog's lost any meaning. We shouldn't use it. We should obliterate it from the English language. When Arianna Huffington calls herself a blogger, and Mike Arrington of TechCrunch calls himself a blogger, and some 15-year-old kid in their bedroom calls themselves a blogger, they're not all bloggers. One is a professional writer who's using the electronic new media to distribute their content and selling advertising against it. Another is some kid who has an opinion, who may or may not be interesting, who's distributing their content, who's never going to make any money out of it. The word blog has lost any kind of meaning. The citizen word is a dangerous word. Anyone who calls himself a citizen anything always gets me thinking like George Orwell, always makes me feel very, very suspicious. The notion of a citizen journalist is deeply problematic. Good journalists want to report the world. That isn't necessarily an act of citizenship, just as a good citizen isn't necessarily a journalist. So I don't like the whole notion of citizen journalism. I think it's a contradiction in terms and often is used in a very Orwellian way by communitarians, by very virtuous Berkeley-style communitarians like people like Dan Gilmore, who have their own agendas, maybe virtuous agendas, but they're nonetheless agendas.
What does it take to be a real journalist in this new environment?